Scott Disick makes marriage preparation to marry Kourtney Kardashian. Hi, before we continue, please subscribe to the channel for all Kardashians news and update. Scott Disick and Kourtney Kardashian have a long and emotional history that many fans of reality television have followed closely for years. Their story, filled with love, arguments, reconciliations, and heartbreak, began nearly 2 decades ago and continues to spark interest even today. In a recent preview for a new episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, Scott made a heartfelt confession that has brought fresh attention to their relationship. At 37 years old, he admitted that he still loves Kourtney and even said he is ready to marry her. When Kim Kardashian asked him directly if he and Kourtney would ever get back together, Scott didn't hold back. He said that wherever Kourtney goes, he stands with her. He added that he loves her and is ready to marry her right now. This moment stirred emotions in viewers, especially when Scott followed up by saying that Kourtney already knows they'll eventually get married and build a good life together. Hearing that kind of deep and clear declaration of love caught many by surprise, especially since both Scott and Kourtney are currently in relationships with other people. Kris Jenner, always watching her family closely, took Scott's comments seriously and even encouraged him to propose, saying it might be something that would make Kourtney happy. After all, the two of them share 3 children, Mason, Penelope, and Rain, and their bond has always been stronger than what most exes usually share. Even though Scott seemed serious, Kourtney didn't immediately agree to anything. She didn't completely shut down the idea either, but she made it clear that she would only consider being with him again if he worked on himself. This wasn't the first time Kourtney had expressed that concern. Over the years, she has often pointed out that while she loves Scott and values their relationship, certain behaviors and choices he's made have stood in the way of them building a life together. For many fans, this moment brought back memories of the many emotional scenes the two have shared on screen over the past decade. Still, people shouldn't get their hopes up too quickly. While Scott was sharing his feelings, he was dating Amelia Hamlin at the time, and Kourtney had already started seeing musician Travis Barker. Their relationships with other people had become more public, especially through social media, where both Scott and Kourtney had been sharing photos with their new partners. Amelia even spent time with Scott's children, showing that their relationship was more than just casual. Kourtney and Travis, on the other hand, were getting more serious by the day, eventually leading to their marriage in May 2022. To understand why this new moment between Scott and Kourtney stirred such emotion, it helps to look back at their full relationship history. Their journey together started in 2006 at a party in Mexico, hosted by a mutual friend. At first, Kourtney admitted she didn't like Scott very much and found him annoying. But clearly, her opinion changed quickly because the two soon became close and started dating. Not long after, Scott appeared on the very first episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians as Kourtney's boyfriend. Their relationship was quickly a major part of the show, and fans got to see everything unfold in real time. Their love story wasn't always smooth. One early sign of this was when the two nearly got married in Las Vegas. After a fun night out, Scott asked Kourtney if she wanted to tie the knot, and she actually said yes at first. They even went to check out a wedding chapel, but in the end, they both felt the decision was rushed and decided not to go through with it. That choice reflected the back-and-forth nature of their relationship, filled with passion but also hesitation and second-guessing. The first major breakup came not long after, when Kourtney found messages from another woman on Scott's phone. She had been away in the Hamptons, and when she returned, she confronted Scott. The two broke up, and it was a difficult time for both of them. However, it wasn't the end. Fans who followed them closely remember how they found their way back to each other in 2009 while in Miami. The couple was spotted being affectionate at a party, and soon after, they shared the news that Kourtney was pregnant with their first child. Their son Mason was born later that year, and his birth was captured on camera for the show. It was a moment fans would never forget, especially since Kourtney famously pulled Mason out herself during delivery. But once again, their relationship ran into trouble. Scott's behavior began to change, mostly due to issues with alcohol. In one memorable episode, he got so drunk that he punched a mirror, which deeply upset Kourtney. She decided to break up with him again. However, even after that, they kept coming back to each other, driven by their strong connection and shared love for their growing family. Over time, they welcomed 2 more children, Penelope and Rain. Their growing family only strengthened their bond, even if they couldn't seem to keep their romantic relationship stable. For many years, Scott and Kourtney were the center of the show, with their love story becoming one of the most talked about parts of the series. But after their final breakup in 2015, things started to change. While they still appeared on the show together and continued to co-parent their kids, their paths started going in different directions. Scott began dating Sophia Richie, and that relationship lasted on and off from 2017 to 2020. Meanwhile, Kourtney focused more on her children and personal growth. She also eventually started dating Travis Barker, which became serious very quickly and led to marriage. Even though they weren't together anymore, Scott and Kourtney stayed connected, especially because of their children. They continued to celebrate birthdays, go on trips, and attend family events together. Their ability to remain close and raise their kids as a team impressed many people and was seen as a sign of maturity. Still, there were always rumors and hopes among fans that they might find their way back to each other. Scott's recent confession that he is still in love with Kourtney and ready to marry her shows that his feelings never really disappeared. And while Kourtney didn't close the door on the idea, she made it clear that real change would be needed. Her main concern has always been whether Scott can truly grow and become a better version of himself, not just for her, but for their children too. That moment in the preview felt real and raw, and it reminded fans why they were so invested in Scott and Kourtney's story in the first place. It wasn't just about 2 people falling in love. It was about the long journey, the struggles, the personal battles, and the way they kept finding their way back to each other, even after everything that happened. Even now, years after their first meeting, their relationship continues to be a topic of conversation. Whether they eventually get back together or simply remain great co-parents, their story has already left a big impact on fans and on pop culture in general. People love stories about love, forgiveness, and second chances, and Scott and Kourtney have given all of that to viewers over the years. Scott's words may not lead to a wedding anytime soon, but they show how deep his connection to Kourtney still runs. He may be dating someone else, and so is she, but feelings like that don't just disappear. Only time will tell if there's another chapter waiting to be written in their story. For now, fans are left wondering what will happen next, and whether love might surprise everyone once again. To understand why this new moment between Scott and Kourtney stirred such emotion, it helps to look back at their full relationship history. Thanks for watching. Please do well to share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more Kardashian updates.